Go. Good. Loosening exercises, please. Feet parallel. Create your posture. Lift the spine. Lift the crown of the head by gently dropping the chin to elongate the neck. Once you've lifted into your posture, melt on the inside. Feel your body pressing into your feet. Feel the hips softening, the lower back opening, the chest, shoulders melting, and the body connecting. When we move in the loosening exercise, we want to try and keep that quality. So that line of the spine, from the crown to the tail, we're going to gently draw it over the left foot. We want to make sure in that movement, the left foot stays nicely planted and stable the whole time. And then coming back, and as we move to the right foot, take your awareness into the right leg, make the appropriate changes in the knee, the hip, and the lower back. So you can glide the spine over the foot and yet keep the foot very stable. Keep the leg and foot stable as you move. Very easy just to turn or to let the movement tighten the body. We want the movement to maintain the stability. So feel the spine, feel the length of the spine. Draw the spine over the foot. Some people often ask me, what speed should I do Tai Chi at? The speed you should do it at is the fastest you can go, and make sure what you're trying to do works. So if we're trying to feel the spine move over the foot, and we're trying to feel the stability in the leg while we do that and keep the spine upright, if you go too fast, maintaining those changes in equilibrium, as more weight comes onto the leg, more changes are necessary, or the appropriate changes are necessary. If you don't make those changes, you lose your stability. So you should go at a speed, I'm not even bringing the arms in yet, you should move at a speed that enables you to make the appropriate changes to maintain your upright quality and your stability. And what you'll find, if you go too quickly, you might collapse the leg, or you might drop too far, you might tighten the ankle, your foot might move on the ground. You might find you're moving, but you're locked, okay? So bring awareness to the changes you're making and let the whole body be soft and fluid, upright and stable in your movement. Then when we bring the arms in, don't let the arms put you off. Try and maintain this quality of your spine, the line of your spine, drawing across, maintaining stability. Drawing across, maintaining stability. Awareness to the right leg, drawing across, upright, maintaining stability. Drawing that line across, turning smoothly, maintaining stability. Trying to keep a super smooth change, because when you drop in, you don't want to be strongly pushing or accelerating the contraction of your muscles. Your muscles want to slowly contract to move you back. Slowly contract. So you sink in. You don't drop a lot at the beginning. You slowly let yourself down and continue that process the whole time. And you slowly fill to return. You slowly drop in. Don't let all your dropping take place quickly. Let it slowly trickle so it's super, super smooth. The changes as you start to release. Don't let it be a big release followed by a slow release. Let it be a slow release the whole time. So you can create an evenness of letting go. Likewise, when you start to push the foot into the ground to turn yourself back, don't let that have a quick start to it. Let it slowly, slowly, slowly build to push you back to the center, release. Draw the spine across, stable and upright. Draw the spine across, stable and upright. The arms joining in with what the torso is doing. Don't be led by the arms. Be led by the torso and the stability of the body. Be led by the torso and the stability of the body. Okay, so if we take this idea of the torso being drawn to the leg, it comes in so many different places in the form, where we move the weight between the legs, when we move the weight from one leg to another leg. For example, brush left knee twister, body upright, moving on to the front leg here, sinking the whole time. If we go from brush left knee twister, body's upright, the releasing is smooth and steady, and I'm drawing my alignment over the foot, and I'm continuing to sink while the right leg lifts. Make sure your sinking doesn't stop here, and then you do something extra with the right leg. Your sinking continues while your right leg is coming up. You draw your foot in on the ground, and then your sinking continues while you lift the right leg. Sink, 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 sink. Okay, have a go, please, a few times. Focus more on the alignment of your spine, drawing it over your foot into stability. Continue sinking into stability. Yeah, don't snatch the foot. Don't snatch the foot off the ground. Let it have an even speed. Let it have an even speed and keep the smoothness of sinking into the left leg. Good, that's better. Yeah. Good. You'll immediately notice if you stop changing, if your sinking stops, the whole posture becomes static. And when the posture is static, the balance is very, very fragile. Okay, it's like the difference between trying to balance a piece of wood, a long piece of wood, just on the end of a piece of wood. As your body becomes static, that pole has to be absolutely upright to have its balance. Whereas when your body's fluid, it's more like a stack of paper cups that are upside down. And they're pressing into each other to get stable, or like a bamboo that can bend and have stability in it. Okay. So the changes you make are important, and it's important not to stop the changes. Let's try 3 more times, please. Moving on to the left leg. The changes have to be in the ankle, the whole foot pressing onto the ground, the knees bending, the hips are changing and softening, and the lower back is opening. Keep that process taking place while you pick up. the right foot. Put it down. Brush left knee twister. Immediately, as soon as you start to sink, you're drawing your spine towards the foot, over the foot, stabilizing and sinking into the foot. This movement, coming forward and turning open, the hip opens. To do this movement, the hip joint, the left hip joint, has to change its angle and open. This joint has to open. Okay, so this left hip joint has to turn open. Very much like the first loosening exercise, when I move on to my left leg, the left hip joint has to open too. So this is similar, what we practiced in the first loosening exercise, turning open here and drawing my spine and alignment over my left foot is very similar to this one here. Same on the right leg. Same, there are many places in the form on the right leg, for instance, when we come out of shoulder stroke. We're going to move our spine over the right leg. First, closing, and then sinking as we open. So if we go from shoulder stroke, the issue in shoulder stroke, in the center, we sink and load. The back foot expands lightly, and the hips turn. The hips turn. This movement is similar to ward off right. The back leg expands and moves the back hip forwards, turning around the center line. This movement here, we know well, we turn to the corner, shoulder stroke here, we turn. After the issue, you sink onto the front leg and continue the turn, letting the back heel come off the ground. So this is issue and sink. Try and find the distinction between the two places. So if we go from raise hands, turn, open, turn back, step to the corner, sink in to load, release, turn, and drop onto the front foot. Do it facing the same direction as the form. Turn open, turn back, step to the corner, 10:30, sink in, issues, turning slightly to 11 o'clock, move on to the front foot, turning to 12 o'clock. Turn back, white crane, spreads wings, facing 9 o'clock. Left hands facing 12 o'clock to start with. Drop the hands, turn open, turn back, draw in the right toe, step to the corner, 10:30, narrow stance, sink in, both legs loaded, release the back leg, turning towards 11, continue the turning, moving forward onto the right leg, 100%, left heel comes off the ground, turn back, right crane, spreads wings. Have a go, please. Okay, have a look, please, have a look. Take a break. Lifting hands. The posture, let me just line up the camera so you can see my arms. The posture of lifting arms is catching someone's wrist and someone's elbow. So I want their wrist on my left hand and I want their elbow on my right palm. So I don't have somebody with me. If someone was striking with their left arm this way, I'd have my right wrist on their wrist here, and I'd have my hand on the elbow, and they'd be coming in with their left arm. In that position, sinking, I can lock their arm in position. So the elbow only wants to bend that way, doesn't want to bend the other way. So if you've got your elbow behind someone's elbow, and this hand's pushing this way, making a scissor grip on somebody's arm, not very nice at all. Not very nice to have your arm locked in that position. Exactly what we want to do to the nasty person attacking us. We want to catch their arm into this grip. Now, this isn't a hard holding grip. This is just a gentle closing. Okay, closing grip. They're falling into, they're coming at us with the left punch. So we're entitled to gather their punch. As we're turning, that punch is going to miss us. And we turn the body to use the force of the turning body to move our arms. We never use independent movement of the arms because the arms are really weak. Okay, compared to the strength in the legs and the strength of the torso turning, compared to this movement in the arms is really weak. Okay, so what we want to do here when we turn is make sure our spine and our back foot stay stable. Our spine turns and our back foot is very, very stable. We're moving from A to B. In any change from A to B, there has to be changes in the body. If there are external movements, there have to be compensatory internal changes. We've got a new dynamic. We were facing 12 o'clock. Now we're turning to face 10:30. In that movement, all the muscles in the left leg have to adjust to the new position. If I keep my muscles in the same position and turn, I'm going to tighten somewhere. That movement or that turn, I have to soften to accommodate. So my knee bends, my hips seat, and my lower back opens. And what that enables my leg to remain stabilizing during the whole of the movement. It's changing and adjusting and stabilizing the whole time I'm turning. And the whole time I'm turning back, it's adjusting. Okay, have a go, please. Really try and be aware of how your left knee, your left hip, your lower back changes while you turn. And what that does is it enables you to remain stable. So it starts off with the elbows one span from the body, sinking the shoulders to close the hands. This movement coming inwards here, holding their forearm. Sink and turn. Turn back. Step. Sink in, load both legs, release the back leg, turning, sink onto the front leg, spiral up, white crane, spreads wings. You know the moves very well, so it's a matter of putting instead of thinking of the moves as moves, think of them as principles. Think of them as what's stable. How do I generate stability here? How do I put as little force as possible to make the body move? Fred, you need to do shoulder stroke in the middle of all that movement. From lifting hands, drop the hands, come back, shoulder stroke. Then there's a small issue in shoulder stroke, then into white crane spreads wings. Christine, when you do white crane spreads wings, this one, as you turn, your left arm wipes down the right arm and your right arm pulls through the left. So both arms are alive and active at the same time. Don't do one first and then lift the other. Try and get the left arm wiping down the right and the right pulling through the left. So it's like your right arm is drawing through, and at the same time, your left arm is wiping down. So think of your right arm as like pulling a glove off. And think of this one as just stroking your arm down. You're pulling your hand out of something. Yeah, it's coming up and the elbow's coming up in this position. Sinking to finish. Yes. Good. Let's take it back one step to single whip. Single whip, the hook does this. The hook, drop the fingers, scoop underneath someone's elbow, catch their elbow. Can you see how small? All it's to do with is the shoulder rotating. When the shoulder rotates, when my shoulder forearm rolls, the hand changes its position. This isn't to do with what I do with the wrist and the fingers. This is to do with the upper body and the forearm rotating. So if you just hold your forearm and turn it, your hand will move. Now you have to find the internal letting go that allows the elbow to drop and the upper arm to roll. Scooping with the fingers. When we teach it, we say you move the fingers in from this position into this position. If I said to the beginners, you've got to open your chest and find the position so your shoulder blades can slide and your shoulders can drop into position, they'd all run away. Okay, so we teach it as what the hand does. It's actually got nothing to do with the hand. The hand arrives in that shape because of what you're doing in your upper body. Your upper body is sinking and connecting. And as your upper body lets go, on top of the base, which is letting go, you can find this movement in the shoulders. Okay, if the changes aren't taking place in the torso and in the leg, then the shoulders aren't going to be moving either. So when you soften the base, when you open the hips, when you release the lower back and soften the shoulder blades, that's when you get the freedom of movement in the shoulder to do this movement in the left arm. This is exactly the same change you want when you do the loosening exercise of sinking into the left leg, releasing the shoulders to let the arms drop. Releasing the shoulders to let the elbows down, and the hands will follow that movement. Got nothing to do with flapping the arms. Okay, it's to do with how the leg changes to give you stability, how the torso melts, how the shoulders melt, elbows and wrists follow that movement. So from single whip, you could say, instead of thinking of what my hands are doing to catch the elbow, my mind is focused on my stability. My mind is focused on my stability. So to find my stability, I need to understand my core. I need to understand the changes I'm making to draw my core onto my left leg. So I'd say 75% of your focus is on your core changing to become stable. If you can do that well, everything else just fits in. Everything else fits in nicely to that. If you rush it, if you rush the movement or just think of the hands and bypass the changes you need to make in the base, you'll end up with tension in your leg. And what speed should you go at? You should go at the speed that you can do the principle you're trying to achieve at. So if I'm trying to achieve stability and I lose my stability, I'm going too fast. If I'm trying to achieve stability, then work at a way that every drop by 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 drop of movement creates stability. Don't jump ahead. Dot by dot by dot by dot by dot stability. Stable, yes. 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 Finish stable. Join all the dots together. One smooth, stable posture. If getting to here, I don't make changes in my lower back. If I carry on and I'm not making smooth changes, I take myself out of stability. So please have a go from single whip. Lifting hands, shoulder stroke. The issue onto the right leg, white crane, spreads wings. Have a go, please. And then I'll see if there are any thoughts or questions from there after I've had a little look. Good, you got the man's arm. You're going to lock his arm as you turn. And then shoulder stroke, small issue out of shoulder stroke, onto the front foot and then turn back. Yeah, good. Yeah, good, Christine. That's good. That arm's better. Okay, good. Any thoughts or questions on that process during that sequence of few moves? Can be anything, can be internal, external, structural. Where do the arms go? Where am I facing? Where the weight is? I don't mind if it's simple or complex. It's for your practice to, to boost your practice and to give you some kind of something to get your teeth into with it, really. So you get excited about analysing how these moves take place and the letting go process in it. Jim.
Right, I find here.
Yeah.
The tension, I mean, I'm thinking, but it's quite awkward because this leg is like sticking. It's in a fairly awkward position. Maybe I'm going too far, but the waist is here and the legs going that way.
Okay.
The waist is this way.
Yeah.
Not 90 degrees, but there's a little bit. I don't know.
It's partly to do with how much you open the hips, and that knee, the left knee, needs to have quite a lot of movement in it, and that movement needs to continue until you finally sink into the final movement of the right leg. You're still sinking in the left. Don't stop your changes and then move the right leg. The sinking, the sinking, the sinking, the sinking. Okay, so just like we do the fifth loosening exercise at the end, where we scoop the foot on the ground like this, this is with the sinking of the body. So here, sinking, 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 sinking. Try and finish your sinking at the same time as you finish the posture and put the right heel on the ground. That means the left hip has to open up quite a lot.
Yeah.
Can't make it easy. Yeah.
I think
we don't want to change the angles. We don't want to change the angles or dumb down the postures to make it easy. What we want to try and do is feel in our bodies if there's anywhere that isn't changing, and draw it into the movement. Encourage that part of us that isn't wanting to loosen or that isn't wanting to change into the movement. And what we may well do is feel a separate movement like this, for example, in the first loosening exercise, of everything changing as we sink and drop fully onto the left, everything changing as we sink and drop fully onto the left. And we may find there's a correlation between one move and another move, and a move that we can do easily can sometimes show us a harder move, where we're restricting the movement or where we're holding the movement back. Because essentially, the body is just made of loose material. Okay, if you take it down to its base level, the body is just a lump of meat and a few bones, and it'll go into any position you want it to go into. But what stops it going into the position is that the muscles tighten and bind the body in a certain holding position. And that tension in the body stops it from moving. We need a little bit of that to give us stability. To stand upright on two legs, we need a little bit of that resilience and that tension, but only just enough. With Tai Chi, when we say soft, yes, soft, but It's not completely relaxed. Relaxed, yes, but it's only take away the unnecessary tension. Keep the rest of the body fluid. So we have to examine. We have to self-analyze and feel how we're holding, how the possible misalignments of our body cause us to hold on. And never kind of rest your laurels that you're completely aligned, because alignment is something that just kind of goes on forever. And never rest on your laurels that you're completely relaxed, because there's always somewhere else that can just let go a little bit more. So we're developing the sensations for this through our practice. And I can't make the postures easy. Wish I could. Wish I could make them easier. But they're challenging, you know, these postures are challenging. And to fully let go of our body weight and to find the buoyancy that supports us, each part of the body letting go and the bit below it supporting it is challenging. But that's when the force of the ground comes up to the hands. That's where the push hands work comes in.
I suspect what's been happening is I've been holding tension in my upper body to compensate for the fact that it's awkward to do this, you know, here.
Right.
Now I'm concentrating on relaxing the back, or, you know, the upper body, then that puts more stress here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling anyway. So maybe, you know, if I keep doing this, it'll just get easier as the capacity in the hip and the thigh increases.
Yeah. So what I'd suggest, Jim, is do it without the arms. Right? Really slow it down and really trickle the weight into that front leg in such a way that you're making sure the lower back is changing the whole time you're moving onto the front leg. Because there's the lower back and the hip joint, the hip at the front of the hip joints and the lower back are like the key. When those two soften, the torso and the leg connect. Okay, so the connection of the upper body into the lower body is really crucial, because that's determined by how you let go of the hip, how you let go of the lower back. And it's really super easy for this part here in the front of the hip to be tight and not seated. You have to make sure the front hip is seating. So at the end of, go back, always go back a move. At the end of single whip, make sure your front hip isn't held. So as you issue, as the back leg expands, you have to make sure that the front hip isn't pushed up or isn't tightening. The front hip softens to allow the force of the back leg to expand. And if the front hip is softening here, then the next move can continue to drop the torso into the leg and onto the ground. But if you're starting off with tension in the front hip, then you're turning on something that's already got tension in it. There's something to examine and feel. Always go back a move and make sure you're starting from a really as balanced place as you can be. Because if you start with a place with tension in your body and you move, you'll generate more tension. You won't be able to release that tension through to the ground. So it's something to explore, because that movement takes place so many times in the form. Okay, let's go through the form to cross hands. And then I want to look at the apparent closing at the end. Look at apparent closing in a bit more detail. We haven't done that yet. So from the beginning of the form. Remember to give yourself time to let your awareness drop into the body sensations. And then to reorganize by lifting your crown, dropping the chin to elongate the back of the neck, opening the lower back, bringing yourself into upright and loose condition, where you're lightly balanced over the feet and then sinking through the whole body, letting yourself connect and stabilize, finding that buoyancy before we even begin. And to start the form, the knees bend, the hips soften, the lower back opens to generate the changes we want to maintain the stability in the legs, stability in the right leg as we step, stability in the left leg by opening the lower back, by bending the knee, by softening the hip, the whole time we're moving across. Turn back. Realign. Bring your awareness to the crown of the head. If you need to change the shape of the spine, please do. And release. Use the legs. Soften the legs, the hips, the lower back, the whole time you're sinking. Stable in the legs. Turn. Stable into the left leg. Turn. 50-50. Make sure your ankles aren't tight. Releasing into the center. Make sure that releasing is nice and smooth and gentle and even. Don't let there be a big drop, otherwise your ankles will tighten and hold you up. Smooth sinking. Space in all the joints. Let the body drop in and rebound the back leg. Sink the front hip. Move on to the left foot, sinking, turning. Same process as the first loosening exercise. Sinking, opening, turning, settling, step. Glide in. Ward off left. Compress, release. Ward off right. Draw back, upright and stable. Turn open. Turn back, both legs. Rebound. Draw back, stable over the back leg, stable in both legs. Press onto the ground, rebound. Single whip. You know what to do here. Sink, bring your torso over your left foot. Scoop the hands. Posture. Draw down. Turn open. Turn back. Step to the corner. Sink into both legs. Load the back. Expand the back leg. Turn. Drop onto the front leg. Turning to face 12 o'clock. Right crane, spread wings. Brush left knee twister. Brush left knee twister. Forward, reflect downwards, intersect, punch, fold, sit back, Move in, rebound. Cross hands. Okay. Just want to have a look at my time. Good. Have a look, please. The last move. Step forward, deflect downwards, intercept and punch. We have done. We have covered. The palm is hovering over the soft part of the elbow. The elbow is in front of the body. It's not close to the body. It's in front. The forearm is parallel to the ground. It's as if you're holding a vertical post. It's not twisted in any way. It's vertical. This position here, it's in line with where it wants to be, not in the center. It's in line with the arms this way. That's the posture. So I've got a bow stance with my left foot forward, body upright, stable, hips, lower back, connected. The punch comes from sinking in, loading both legs, small expansion of the back leg, shoulders dropping, force comes through to the punch. Punch only moves forwards, the same distance as the push, just the distance of the fingers. It's an inch punch. Make sure your shoulder doesn't come up and your body doesn't lurch forward when the back leg expands. When the back leg expands, the upper body settles, and that brings the force through to the fist. You can do this in reverse by pushing into a wall and aim to increase the pressure in the back of the fist, but don't let the pressure build. So you have to sink the shoulder to not let the pressure build. Get to a point where you extend the arm and it'll break your base. You sink. You aim to push the hand out, but you don't let the pressure build on the back of the wrist. So you have to make changes in the shoulder to keep that light. And then the body sinks and connects. Expand the back leg and you'll throw yourself backwards. Because you hit the resistance. If there was no resistance on the wall, your hand would go forwards. This is what we're looking for. So when you come to punch, don't let the shoulder go out. Don't let your upper body come forwards. Your upper body sinks. Your shoulder sinks. The force comes through to your fist. From there, this is how I used to do the form. Okay, this is how I used to do it. I used to turn to the corner, onto the front leg, turn to the corner, sit back, turn to the opposite corner, and then move in. The way Rikujin does it is the body just moves forward and backwards straight. So from here, the hand folds, but the body doesn't. Sit back, move in. What's happening that's different? The hand is the same. It's turning palm up, folding across at 45 degrees. So it's going from straight ahead to the corner, palm up. The thumb, which was on the inside of the wrist, inside of the elbow, this hand is turning, same as before, rolling around the thumb. So your palm is underneath. It was hovering on top here. You touch with your thumb, and then you can keep your thumb in contact while you roll your hand underneath. Thumb stays in contact. It's just this elbow point here. And then your hand's underneath and can slide through the wrist. So instead of turning the body into the front leg, just the arm folds. Imagine someone's pushing on your arm and you just let it go. Imagine some nasty person's coming in to grab you. Don't let them land on your punch. They're coming into maybe to block your punch. Wipe your punch to the side if your punch is coming towards them. They're perfectly entitled to do that, of course, defend themselves, but you're not going to let them move you. You're going to yield. So your punch softens and yields, as if it's a stick on water floating away to the corner. In the form, I'm facing 9 o'clock. My fist turns palm up to face 7:30, and my left palm underneath. What's going to happen then is my left hand wipes all the way along my arm until I'm in the back foot. Fold, sit back, wipe. It's like this one's pulling through and this one's wiping. My right hand's pulling through, my left hand's wiping. My fingers just separate on the back foot. Let's try it. 1, fold, sit back, wipe. 1, fold, 2, sit back, wipe. I'm in the back leg, 90% in the back leg. Front leg, sinking, sit back to the back leg. Move into 50-50, the hands open as I'm moving in. What's that all about? Well, hand movement comes from, I'd ask you, but you're all muted. Where does the hand movement come from? It comes from the shoulders. Oh, yeah, I can see Christine pointing to the shoulders. You got it. The hand movement comes from the shoulders. So to get the hands to do this, to change from this to this, what's got to happen in the shoulder? The shoulders have to change in such a way that it brings movement into the hands. So you can imagine just letting your hands sit quietly in that position. And what am I going to do with my shoulder to make the hand do that? The elbow's got to drop slightly. Shoulder's got to move, the elbow's got to drop, the hands follow. This is a shoulder girdle movement. And I'm going to repeat myself because the way Taiji works is by repeating it until something in whoever's learning it goes, aha, my body understands what to do. My head knew it all the time, but my body now understands what to do. For the shoulder girdle to change, the middle back has to create some space because the shoulder blades have to melt down the back. The whole shoulder unit has to change. Part of that shoulder unit comes right down the back, the shoulder blades. They have to have somewhere to slide to move, a new position to move into. For the shoulder blades to move, the lower back has to open. So the legs have to change to allow the lower back to open. So this movement of coming into the center, from here, sit back here, I'm in the back leg. This movement of coming in is sinking the legs, making the torso stable on the base. The shoulders follow and the hands turn over. And I end up in the center, connected. Let's try it, please. Last few minutes of the class. Let's try it. from the punch. Left foot forward, bow stance. Nasty person's going to try and block my punch, let it fold. Gliding like a stick on the river, swimming. Flowing. Sit back, glide the left hand across. The fingers just separate when I'm on the back foot. Coming forwards, I'm not looking to turn my hands. I'm looking to keep my base stable, keep my feet stable, keep my torso connected as I come into both legs. Softening the shoulders, let the hands turn. Small expansion from the back leg, of course. I don't want my upper body to lurch forward. I want my shoulders to drop some more. Let the force come through to the fingertips. That will be your practice for the week, just that one move. To try and feel a little bit more subtlety in that one move. A little bit more inquiry, where should you put your focus in the move? Put your focus in the stability in the base and the body being connected and all the changes taking place through the whole body. And then try and fit the movement into those principles of staying stable, staying upright, changing. Don't move from the movements. Don't think about the movements and do the movement. Think about the principles, feel the principles, and let the movement of Tai Chi be generated, the changes of the outside of the body be generated by the principles of Tai Chi that are embodied in the movements of the form. Your practice will definitely improve. Jim.
Oh, that's it. That's fine.
Okay, great.
I was just picking up my phone.
Okay, no problem.
No, that was great.
Good.
There's lots in there.
Sure.
There's lots of refinements for me to work on there, not just in that last bit, but also in the shoulder stroke and the, yeah.
Yeah, great. You can see how it's, you have to kind of shift your focus from the way you normally do things into just seeing it from a different angle, right? Not that what you do is wrong, but how can you open this? How can you unpack this and find out more about it? And you know, once you start getting kind of like really interested in how the body moves and how the body works and how the mind works, then you can unpack these things and use your Tai Chi to explore more and more and more, rather than just doing the form. So I wish you well. Have a good week. Happy solstice, everybody. And oh, there's one thing I need to do before we finish. I had a question and I just want to tag it on to the end of the lesson. It was for Olivia, who's in Australia. And I just want to tag it onto the question. He asked about the stepping in the four corners. So I'm just going to run through this like 1 minute. You're happy to stay and watch, but I'm just going to tag it on. He asked the stepping from the second, from this corner here. It's a narrower stance. I turn. Now my weight is connected, or my body's connected to my right leg. Turn the left in. Move to the left leg. Change hands. My feet and my waist are now all facing 4:30. Turn. Step straight behind. This step is like the step in Step Back to Repulse Monkey. So I step straight behind. I move onto the ball of my right foot. I turn the left in. I move onto the left foot, pivoting on the ball of my right. And now I'm free to step right into the next corner. I'll do that again one time. I turn the left elbow to the right arm. As I pass my weight to the left foot, the hands change. Step straight behind. Move a little bit of weight onto your right foot, turn the left in. Sit back to the left, releasing the pivot on the ball of the right foot. Step to the corner, narrow stance, move in and release. Okay, there we are. You can watch that a little bit and hopefully that answers his question. So everyone, hopefully everyone's happy. Have a good week and we'll see you next week. Thanks very much.
Thank you.